What's up, Transformers fans? Mondo here, the Dad Bottomus Prime, along with his Minicon AA-tron, and this is the Moonbase 84 podcast, presented to you on the Moonbase 84 YouTube channel. And this is a podcast we try to do weekly. Sometimes it doesn't
Usually
work
every
out.
Saturday, but things have altered that. Today is Saturday though, so maybe we'll get this one out on time.
Yeah, but there's a reason for this and why I came up with waiting. But anyway, this is where we cover like Transformers news and, just share different opinions on topics. And today is all about the flood of recent rumors. The topics will be the flood of the recent rumors concerning not only Transformers on the big, but also the small screen. And of course, we have the news to cover from the latest Transformers Studio Series fan stream. And that is why we decided to wait, because we were going to record last Saturday, but then the fan stream was Tuesday. So we said, why don't we hold off and then swing around so we can cover the Studio Series news. With that being said, you can support the channel by hitting that like button and subscribing. And that's all you had to do. It's free for you, but means the world to us.
Free is always good. There's nothing wrong with free.
That's right. I like free. So, do you have anything else quickly to add before we get into things?
No. Yeah, let's just get right into it. I'm excited. It was a busy news week, and these rumors are really starting to, make my head spin. So
Okay, so let's start off with some regular non-rumor news. And we will click here. This right here first is a correction, because when I always say I'm a fan, not an expert. I make mistakes. Our last podcast, this Red Alert repaint, I goofed up and said was Misfire, but his name is Flatline. And that's because there was that 2-pack with a Decepticon Target Master Slug Slinger. So I had Target Masters on my brain, but this is Misfire. So I just wanted to share that correction with you guys. That was just quick. Moving on. We have to get to our answers, our results from our question. Every podcast, we ask a question to interact with the fans. You can answer this week's question in the comments below, or I put it up as a YouTube post. This is the screenshot from the YouTube post. And last time we asked Transformers fans, what line would you like to get reissues from Hasbro? And these are kind of interesting. 53% said Transformers Prime. Only 13%, that's what got me, said Transformers Animated. And
that's crazy to me.
And it took a little bit before it got some love. It was reading 0 for a little bit. Transformers Cybertron, 27%. And 7% said others. Comment below. I don't have the screenshot for that, but the two other ones that stood out were Beast Machines. Someone put Beast Machines and someone put Energon. And we got 15 votes, so that was pretty good. Make sure if you see our little post that you drop an answer, and we will swing around and cover it next time. And stay tuned to the end of the video for next week's question.
Yeah, and animated needs some more love. I love, that's kind of tough going up against Transformers Prime though.
Yeah, but the thing though is I'm really shocked because besides the diehard G1ers, the ones that when people that call G1ers in a derogatory light, that group of fans that only accept like G1 stuff. Besides them, I thought Transformers Animated was very well received overall, and the toys were great. So I'm surprised it was so low.
Yeah. Me too. Especially as someone who grew up with animated.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's over 40 plus year history. Someone's other version of Transformers are that person's G1.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
I think I said right.
Yeah. Like I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Like animated is my G1.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, you were
that
barking up the right tree.
yeah, I just as usual flubbed the lines. All right, so that was pretty cool. Thank you for
Yeah, what do
those
we
who.
got up next?
And next we have um the game PUBG is doing a
Oh,
crossover with Transformers, and I I'm sharing this just in case you play PUBG. You know that's something, and you like Transformers. There you go. But also, this is kind of this in itself isn't discouraging to me, but it's frustrating to me because we keep seeing Transformers crossing over into other games like Overwatch 2 and Fortnite
yep.
when we lose dedicated Transformers games like Reactivate. And it's very frustrating because the Hasbro CEO, as we know, says he wants to transition and focus heavily on games. So where is our dedicated Transformers game? We do have the rumor that they are doing something with Saber Interactive, that developer, but it's not announced as a Transformers game. Everybody's hoping it is, but where's our at least our remasters? I will keep harping
That's
on
what I
it.
was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say. I've said it a
Give
few
us,
times. I'll say it again, and I'll keep saying it. I want my. I need the remasters.
mhm.
Need them.
And give us that until we get a new proper Transformers game. I mean, for people that like Transformers and play this like PUBG, Fortnite, or whatever, Overwatch, that's great. But give us the fans a proper Transformers game, and I'm not talking like Galactic Trials. I had fun with that for about 5 minutes. I mean, a little bit longer, but when it was so bare
I
bones,
mean, I pretty
give us
much
a.
beat the game.
But I mean, I got so bored with it when I realized there's no more new tracks, there's no new characters, you can't play
No,
on. It was like it was fun for what it was, but it didn't. The appeal doesn't last. I feel you get bored with it very
no,
quickly.
it's not like an infinite game. You can't just
Yeah,
play and
yeah,
play. It
and
dies
and
over time.
and we need a new top tier Transformers game, and we need the remasters to hold us off until then. That's and yeah. So
Yeah,
this is good for people that like PUBG and like Transformers, but it's frustrating for those of us that want a Transformers game.
yeah, for sure.
So yeah, moving on to the next topic. I forgot what's on my slides here. Oh, this one's great. So the Transformers comic from Skybound. Daniel Warren Johnson, renowned creator. I love a lot of his other stuff too that I've gotten a chance to read. Is leaving Transformers. We knew this after issue 24, and everybody was like thinking, who's going to be the next, writer, and people were like, hoping that we get a quality writer to continue on that great comic. Um, but they announced that Robert Kirkman, who owns Skybound, is behind Walking. For those that don't know, Walking Dead franchise, the comics and the show, and everything Walking Dead, and the Invincible series, the comic and the cartoon on Amazon Prime. Himself is taking over Transformers, which is awesome because Skybound is his baby. He's a quality writer, so it's going to be in good hands. So that's refreshing and reassuring. But even better is that the artist is going to be Dan Mora. Dan Mora, for those that aren't really into comics, I mean, art is subjective, everybody, but to me and a lot of people, Dan Mora is a fantastic artist. So this looks to be like Transformers will be continue to be well written, but also look really, really good. Now, the aesthetic is going to change because Dan Mora's style is not in the style of Daniel Warren Johnson or Jorge Corona, but I think it's going to look phenomenal. And I am super excited, and I feel I'm happy, and that I don't have to worry that we're going to get the quality of the comic is going to go down. I don't think that's going to be the case. Robert
No,
Kirk, that's his baby. Skybound is his baby.
yeah,
And plus he's a great writer
yeah.
anyway and creator.
I hope I haven't caught up with all the issues yet. I still got to read all the ones I picked up like 2 weeks ago or whatever. But I'm really hoping that these guys bring in the Dinobots. I think it would be sick if they could do it.
Well, I want Dinobots, and
Oh, I know. That goes without saying.
I'm really shocked that Daniel Warren Johnson hasn't, because you see it's gritty, it's very
Yeah.
destructive. I mean, he doesn't care about killing characters. Some
No.
characters he killed, I was actually bummed about because they were some of my favorite characters.
You're happy
But
about Bumblebee.
I was very
right,
happy about
right
it.
off the jump.
It was shocking, and I was like, I don't. For those that I don't hate Bumblebee, and I get that he's like the top 4 Transformers. Where they push to sell. Those are your faces of the franchise. But the overexposure of Bumblebee has driven me nuts more and more. So to
Yeah.
see a Bumblebee less, that's a word.
And plus, he kind of pushes Cliff Jumper out of the spotlight. I know you usually like Cliff Jumper more than Bumblebee anyway.
Yeah, and I hate
So
how they're like
he gets
so,
some more love as well in the comic.
and I love that. Yeah, no
Yeah.
Bumblebee. Cliff Jumper is kind of like the ride along for one of the humans, Carly.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
great. But yeah, I'm really happy for this, and I cannot wait. I mean, it's sad to see Daniel Warren Johnson and Jorge Corona go, because like I said, Daniel Warren Johnson is phenomenal. But
Yeah.
it's also, this gets me excited for the series to continue after his departure, and doesn't have me worrying.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see like how big of a shift, if at all, like the story kind of takes and all that.
Yeah, it might, but as long as it's good. I mean, the thing to me is, like, I love Dan Mora, but the thing with comics in general to me is, if you see a certain artist over a stretch of issues, and then you get a different artist with a different style, it's always jarring at first, even though if you like both of the artists, even if you
Yeah.
like, it's still jarring if the style change, and it takes a minute for your brain to get back into it in a way.
Well, it's like a band having like a new singer or something. It's like that kind of deal, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah.
Or like a new guitarist or something. Like there's going to be something a little different, but
It takes
you
you
could
a minute.
choose. It takes you a minute,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm
But
excited for it.
I'm happy that the artist they got was one that I happen to absolutely love. So that's great.
Yeah,
And that I assume the picture you see on your screen, I assume is a Dan Mora Optimus, and he looks great.
yeah, it looks really great.
I bet more Comic Con next month is coming. I bet they'll talk more about it. So that's good. Okay, are you ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, where are we going now? Oh, okay. So we've gotten some more pictures of kind of like the next current round of Cyber World toys, and some newer one, the next wave basically. So I figured we cover some of these, because I cover Wild King, and well, Aatron does too, but me more so, because I love Wild King. But I thought it has to be fair. We cover Cyber World, and here's the Prime and Bumblebee. Starting off, and again, I don't want. I see more and more when I talk about these and compare them to Wild King, because they're both the kids' lines. I seem to bash Cyber World a little bit, but yeah, to me, they just. I'm not gonna compare them to Wild King, but to me, they just don't seem like that they're going to be something a lot of even kids might be interested in. And again, I always say I hope I'm wrong. They're just not
Yeah,
as cool as Wild King. I can't help it. I got that bias because I had the Wild King and I love him. But I never want a line to fail. But I mean, these things don't even have elbow articulation, and I don't know. I like how they made Bumblebee. This version of Bumblebee is the off-road Bumblebee, and I love the Prime off-road mode, going away from like a trailer truck. And if you notice on
yeah,
Prime's face here, my little mouse, his face is weird, and I was like, what do they do to his face? But know what that reminds me of? A figure that I absolutely love, and it was from Transformers Prime Beast Hunters. The Beast Hunter Optimus Prime had a face similar to that, and that was like the only thing
yeah,
about the figure I wasn't great on. But
yeah.
it looks like they gave him some Transformers Prime Beast Hunters love. I mean, they're okay, but
They
they should
look
come
like
out.
Yeah, they look like good toys for kids, but like there's not much going on with them in terms of like play value or anything. It looks like no like buttons or like flips or switches or anything. I mean, look at Bumblebee. Does he even come with a weapon?
Um, the ones that come with weapons, as far as I can tell, are at a higher price point, a little bit higher. They call them a
I
different
think
thing. These are
I think
like
that's lame.
cyber or something. And then if you want a weapon, it's like a deluxe cyber. I got that totally wrong, probably, but a deluxe cyber battler or whatever. I don't like the gimmick toys they have lately, like the one step flippers or whatever. And obviously, I
Yeah,
don't kids do either because they clog the shelves.
yeah,
But the play pattern for Cyber World seems to be littler figures on bigger figures that serve as play sets, like the Scorponok and the Grimlock. So time
yeah,
will tell if kids like that play pattern. But as an individual figures, um, they could have at least given them some elbow articulation. I mean, I mean, and that's
yeah,
I'm sure kids would like that too because, and I'm talking like I'm an adult now, a collector. You know, of course, I want most of the time I'm looking for more articulation. Not always,
yeah,
but even as a kid, when I played with my original G1 toys, my friends and I'd be like, "Oh, it'd be cool if he could do this," and basically talking about articulation without saying
yeah,
articulate.
yeah,
So kids think about that kind of stuff. So give them some damn elbow bends at least.
yeah,
Know what I mean?
yeah, for sure. I mean, I will say the alt modes look cool though. Like you were saying, they look solid, but
Yeah,
yeah, there needs to be more going on with the bot modes, I think.
yeah. And to do that Beast Hunters type Prime vibe is weird. He looks like so angry. Okay,
Ooh,
so we have more though. And here we have the Elita 1 and the Wheeljack. Elita 1 this time is a boat mode, which I like the look of this Elita 1 overall. I mean,
yeah, it looks
I
pretty
like the
solid.
boat. I like the boat mode. It's like more like a spaceship boat mode. If you were a kid, if I was a kid, I'd probably pretend it was a spaceship. And that's
Yeah.
not bashing the figure further than, like I said, the lack of like movement. Um, I'm just saying, if I was a kid, I would be like spaceship.
I think it's interesting the colors they went with Alita. It looks more like a peachy color than like, like a pink
Yeah, yeah,
traditional Alita 1 pink, but I mean, I dig it. It looks pretty cool.
yeah. And the Wheeljack looks pretty cool as well. It's Wheeljack.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can definitely tell that's Wheeljack with the big old floppy ears.
he's got like the prowl chest going on, but besides that, and
Yeah.
I'm eating on it for that. I mean, I'm sure out of that mold they'll get like prowls and things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So okay, so those are, and then I saved my besides the Grimlock, the giant Grimlock slash battle playset thing, which I do want to get, and I am gonna get some of these to review them to give them their due. But we have Snarl here, and he looks pretty cool.
I
Again,
agree.
no
He
elbow.
looks pretty cool.
It does
He
look
almost
like
he's got a it looks like a he looks like a junkie on though. It's my only
he
he
does.
looks like he's got definitely like the spikiness going on, the color scheme, and honestly the head sculpt too.
His head
He-
to me looks like it's shaped like Beast Wars Megatron, though.
yeah, yeah, that too. Yeah, that too.
So
But
he
he
was a
almost looks like
dinosaur.
he looks like what's his junk heap? That's his name.
Oh, maybe I always get them crossed
I
up,
get
but he
him
does.
mixed up.
Now I did not think that, but now you said it, and I can't unsee it. Now, and the thing is about the ones that are beast formers here, they always look like they're just on their knuckles. You can see
Yeah,
you can see their little foot here, but it still doesn't do a good job of hiding that that's his fist, and
yeah,
they're on the knuckles. So it's like it'd be like me walking around on the ground pretending I was on all fours, pretending I was a dinosaur.
yeah.
I'm definitely getting him to check out for when I do my thoughts on Cyber World
Oh yeah,
toys.
he's a dinosaur.
Overall, they just come off. Well, I mean, parents that grew up with Transformers might, not pick these up without their kids in the store because they say, "Man, those are looking kind of cheap." And that gets me
Yeah,
real quick. I know I'm going off the rails here, but that gets me real quick we're starting to see an influx of deluxe Optimus Primes and like studio series, and I'm wondering if, besides getting more Optimus Prime because he sells, I'm wondering if it's like, okay, a lot of people aren't buying like stuff like Cyberworld or whatever, the Earthspark stuff for their kids because they look cheap.
Yeah.
So maybe we get deluxe Optimus Primes out there. They're, a cheaper price point than the Voyagers and Leaders and Commander classes. So maybe they'll pick those up for their kids. And I'm guessing that's why. Because overall, when you get a deluxe Optimus Prime, like with Transformers 1, Deluxe Prime and Devastation Optimus Prime, when you put them with other characters he's supposed to go with in those lines, from like Transformers, he doesn't scale well at that size.
No.
I was thinking, why do they keep doing that? Why are they doing that? And I think it's because that way people will, people that might not, collect will buy that cheaper Optimus Prime for their kids.
Yeah.
And a decent Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
Speaking of like the presentation, making these look like, cheaper end figures, which they are a lower price point, but overall the presentation, even if they are a lower price point, you have to present them as like, cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that brings me to this. This is the packaging. And this packaging is not doing Cyberworld any justice, in my opinion.
No.
It looks
I
cheap.
agree.
It looks
It
like
really does.
dollar packaging. It looks like Authentics packaging.
Yeah.
And it's not doing this line any justice. I do not think. Because even if it was a good figure, I mean, I'm not saying this is a terrible figure, but even if the figures were all phenomenal, packaged like this, presentation is big on a shelf.
Yeah. Yeah.
If a package like this, and I'm just like somebody looking to buy a Transformer for my kid or my nephew or something,
Or just a toy, any toy in
I
general.
would look at this and not even look deeper at the figure and be like, this thing is just a cheap figure.
It almost looks like a off-brand company, like a, you know what I mean, like Transformers, but not really. You know what I mean? Packaging.
Or like the Authentics packaging.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I wouldn't even look. You could have a phenomenal figure in that package, but like to just casual people, they're gonna see that packaging and they're gonna think that thing's cheap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not doing Cyberworld any justice with this packaging, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Because even if I end up not really liking the line at all, for one, it's not made for me, so who really cares in the big scheme of things? But I never want a line to fail. I actually want kids to love the show, and I want kids to scoop these up because that's how the lines continue.
Yeah.
But this isn't helping them. Hasbro sell these figures. I don't know what they're doing. So
yeah, it's just there needs to be a little bit more effort here for sure.
yeah, it's like
Something.
we got to put it in something.
Throw it in that white box with a few little graphics on there.
And I'm sure it's like, let's make the packaging as cheap as possible. And that's what you get.
Yeah, well, also another thing that helps with packaging a lot of times as well, especially in toy aisles, like I was mentioned before about like the extra play features or something. This would be a perfect one to have like a button or something and have it like growl or have like the jaw open or something, and then you can put that in the box, like, hey, try me, Arrow, press this button, he growl, something.
Yeah.
Which could help as well, but
I
once
think the
again,
group in Scorponok have those, but these are like the $10 figures. But yeah, I know
yeah,
what you're saying. I think they have the Try Me stuff. I'm not sure though.
yeah,
I've seen them in stores. But yeah, I mean, I understand they wouldn't want to spend tons on packaging, but you could have done something to make this pop more.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's all I got to say about that, I guess. Like Forrest Gump says. And we were going to move on to the Studio Series fan stream. And here, I brought up first because this is interesting. So Hasbro, as we all know, as a lot of us know, I don't want to speak for everybody, know that they keep on getting, a lot of their buzz around new things. By the time they get to revealing them, the excitement is not that hype because things get leaked so much. So what they've decided to start doing is try to get ahead of that. So on their fan streams, they said they're going to start showing the grayscale prototype models, what they use to work with before they get a final, to try to jump on that. So they're trying to get it so they're to beat the leakers. So they're revealing to build the excitement themselves.
Yeah.
Because like this whole fan stream, we've seen the leaks, not only seen the leaks, but we've actually seen actual product shots of everything before.
Yeah, like Alita 1, I was going to say. All that.
Well, Alita 1 is a little different because it was up for pre-order by them.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
everything else we that, but you can include that. But all the stuff that, everybody would have gotten hyped for if this was they were first reveals, the excitement is kind of gone. We watch these things now a lot of times just to find out when the pre-orders go up.
Yeah.
You know what
Pretty
I mean?
much. But yeah, it definitely like kills some of the momentum for Hasbro, like if a leaker leaks it or whatever. And it's like, whoa, yeah, cool. But like if that doesn't happen and they're finding out right from, Hasbro themselves, they're like, oh yeah, So definitely a loss of, momentum and energy.
And the leaks are so prevalent now that it's not even just the product listings, barcode listings, from like Walmarts and stuff.
Yeah.
Actual pictures.
Yeah.
So like everything I think we've seen pictures of. So here is the Transformers 1 Arachnid. So this is what they're going to try to do to jump. And it's hard to tell with the gray model. Excuse me again, but it looks pretty cool. I mean, I have trouble with gray model. Some people love seeing this stuff, and I don't hate it, but I can't judge. I can't make a first initial impression off the model personally because I just, I need to see the paints and stuff. But it's crazy that they got her alt mode in Transformers 1 into some kind of semblance of a bot mode because that thing was all propeller
very
type
impressive.
thing. She was like that drone. But yeah, so I like to see this in color, and I'm glad they're trying to do this because I like it. I get excited when I hear the leaks, but I would love to get more excited like at like a presentation, like their fan streams, be like, oh my god,
Yeah.
But that's Arachnid, and then they showed one that I was wondering why they didn't even have this in the works, before when they first started releasing or talking about how upcoming Transformers 1 studio series, and that's the Alpha Trion. Now here they have the gray model, and this is not the final paint. This is another test shot where they just do things up in the plastic they have around, the factory, and this is all just to work to make sure, tolerances and everything are okay.
Yeah.
And this one looks really cool, and I love the Prime Changers Alpha Trion. It's a fun figure. I have it on my desk, and I love him. This one looks really, really good.
He does. Very impressive looking.
And I love this interpretation of Alpha Trion in Transformers 1. Yeah,
I do
really
too.
excited for this
a
one.
lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was
it's
really
gonna be a cool figure to have in hand.
And that goes back, though. It kills me because the Deluxe Prime for Transformers 1 does not scale well with the rest of the Studio Series Transformers 1 characters. Like, I was going to pick up the Bumblebee you reviewed, and I was like, and they had the Prime, and I had them side by side just to see, and it's like, am I even going to do Transformers 1? I mean, and I'm not a huge stickler for scale so much, but when it comes to Prime, he just should not be close to the size of Bumblebee.
No.
And that just bothers me. But I love the Transformers 1 movie, and I love, all the figures look pretty cool. So I probably will end up going back and getting the Bumblebee and the Sentinel and the Alita when it comes out. But yeah, and I want to support them because the only hope of us getting, and we're going to talk about this a little later under the rumors, the topic of the day, all the rumors, the only hope of us really of getting a Transformers 1 sequel at this point seems to be by showing them, we're fans of them, and one way is by getting the toys of
Absolutely.
Transformers. So I might, even though like the scaling may be off, they're still decent looking figures. Except for I don't like that. I don't like that Deluxe Prime. If you guys saw my review that much, it has problems. But overall, I like the designs, and yeah, so I probably will get them. Okay, next we have our second 2-pack of the Transformers Timelines. For those that don't know, Timelines is a new subline from Hasbro where they're going to take the top 4 flagship characters and put them in 2-packs. The 4 are Prime, Bumblebee, Megatron, and Starscream. And recently, the first 2-pack, the Prime and the Starscream, from this iteration of the Timelines, which is Hearts of Steel, that was a Transformers comic. They're hitting fans' hands, and there's reviews up. And this is their second 2-pack of Bumblebee and Megatron. And I wasn't gonna really go. I wasn't really too interested in picking these up for myself, but I want this 2-pack because of Megatron as an old school canon is just cool to me, and I need this in my life.
Yeah. That was my initial thought exactly. Like, who would have thought of Megatron as like old, like cannonball fire and thing?
Well, it makes sense. It makes sense, and it's just
Yeah.
fun. It's funny to me.
Scallywag.
It's both cool and funny to me. Plus, I love the black and gray color scheme they went with,
It does look very nice.
and I need this in my life. I need this with my Megatrons, my random Megatrons, and the Bumblebee looks cool too. I mean, he's got the goldish paint scheme instead of like the bright yellow. I
Yeah.
will say, to me, the Prime, I've seen, pictures, and that's why I wasn't really interested in it. The Prime, and then in reviews, the Prime's train mode looks very like, it almost looks like it could, cyber world in a way. It's very kid play school looking, and like, it looks like, everybody says it looks like a Thomas the Train, and I agree. But because of the gold on this Bumblebee, it makes it pop more, and I
Yeah.
think it looks much nicer and not as plain.
Yeah, I agree
But I
for
really
sure.
want this Canon Megatron. It just depends if I want to spend the money on them, how much I want.
Yeah.
But I wish they were single packs. I understand they're 2-packs, but if he was a single, I'd definitely get him. And they say that this is going to be a yearly thing. There's going to be a theme every year in the timelines, and it's going to show like those 4 throughout different iterations, which is interesting. It'd be cool to see what next year brings.
Yeah, for sure.
And then moving on, we're going to start with the Studio Series Widowmaker. Now, this is part of the Studio Series concept. Like, they do the concept designs and then make a figure out of it, like they did with Sunstreaker and Megatron for the Bumblebee movie. And this was originally, I think it's KSI drone,
Yep.
and never transformed, but they made it transform. And I think it looks pretty cool. It's something I'm probably not going to pick up, but you Bayverse fans might, they do seem to be kind of excited for it. And it looks pretty good for what it is.
Yeah,
I don't hate it,
I agree.
even
Definitely
though
looks solid. Doesn't look, like crazy complex. Solid design. I like the handguns there on his forearms. Those look pretty cool.
her,
Oh, whatever.
can't you
Her
see the dreadlocks?
dudes have
Michael
dreadlocks too.
Bayverse, yeah, that's true. But Michael Bay, as we know, decided he liked facial hair on his Transformers, tons of it.
Yeah.
Dreadlock. But
Either way, her guns I think are cool.
yeah,
But yeah,
like I
and
said, it's
it doesn't look like an overly complex figure
go
either.
ahead.
So
Yeah, like I said, I'm not interested in it, but it looks good. I mean, I
yeah,
don't hate that it exists, and it's for those that are into that. Next, we have the Alita 1, which is a funny thing because she went up for pre-order the same time Sentinel Prime did. This is I should say, just in case. This is the Transformers 1 Alita 1. She went up the same time the Sentinel Prime and the Bumblebee went up, and I think maybe even the Optimus Prime and Megatron. But it's funny that people are, we're still waiting for this Alita 1 when the Sentinel, all the other ones came out, basically. And this is the one I was really excited for the most. I think she looks really, really good. She has that Transformers 1 blaster that they all use. Her legs look a little thin in some places, kind of a tad wonky, but not a deal breaker.
I think that's kind of how it was in the movie, though, if
Yeah.
I remember correctly. So that's the thing. I don't have a problem with things like that if it's accurate to the show or movie or whatever media. But, it's like, what is it, the animated Prime, like
Yeah.
some of those figures are a bit wonky, but not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, no, like I'm not saying that's a gripe. It's just something I noticed.
Yeah.
Her little bike mold looks really cool, Cybertronian bike. But yeah, I've been waiting for this one, and her colors really pop too. I like that kind of pink they used.
Me too. That's a cool looking pink. And now I'm looking at the bike. It almost looks like what you call it? The Christian Bale Batman bike.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, but hopefully soon we'll finally get this Alita 1.
Yeah.
It's funny it's
Maybe.
taking so long.
Yeah.
And now we have the Transformers 1 Starscream, which I think is really cool. I'm using this picture because they didn't put him out by himself like the other ones. They just
Yeah.
they had him next to Alita 1 or whatever, and I wanted to show him up, just by himself. And I think this one looks really good. Does a great job of looking like Starscream from Transformers 1. I'm loving the head and the face sculpt on him. And of course, they said this is going to lead to more Seekers from Transformers 1.
Oh,
They
of
say
course.
we don't
You're gonna
just
end
do.
up with 10 Seekers if they make them.
And you know what? That's fine by me, because besides Dinobots, I never met a Dinobot that I didn't want, and I never met a Seeker I didn't want. I am the target demographic for repaints when it comes to Seekers. I will pick up everyone I can.
Yeah. I think it's interesting how that his shoulder gun thingy is detachable and he can hold it like that. I think that's kind of cool, but I'm not going to display it like that. I wonder what is on it though. The blue thing, you see? I don't know what that is.
What blue thing? The blue part of the gun?
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's because it's part of his alt mode. It's a gun
Oh,
and alt.
got
We'll
you.
see. I have
Got
an
you.
alt mode picture. I did both
But
pictures, so we will get to that.
doesn't look like it. Oh, this is
No,
down there, yeah.
yeah, it's another gun, and his Tetrajet alt mode looks really cool.
I like that a lot. I wish there was a little bit more blue in there, but other than that, it looks really good.
I think what they did was they took the design from the Bumblebee movie and
Yeah.
translated it
Simplified it, yeah.
to animated form for Transformers 1, and it comes
Yeah.
out nice in toy form. And this is one I
Definitely.
can't get my hands on, because even if I wasn't doing all the Transformers 1 stuff, I said, like, right now I'm behind, but I plan on getting them. But I always pick up certain characters, and one is Starscream because he's one of my favorites. So yeah, and I'm happy that he looks to be coming out really nice. And I will pick up the Thundercracker and the Skywarp and the 30 other ones they decided to redo. So yeah, really cool. Then we have
Oh no.
the reissue of the Studio Series Grimlock, and this is a great reissue because a lot of people weren't able to get him. And if you check eBay, some of the prices are like $300, $400. People are trying to sell these things for, and that obviously is outrageous. So for them to go ahead and reissue that, this Grimlock is awesome, because plus, even if you wanted a Grimlock, it's awesome. But say you had the rest of the Dinobots, it would suck if you didn't have your Grimlock. they did say they pay attention to that and try to get reissues out, when they can. So that's cool that they do pay attention to that. And it's not locked behind some kind of exclusive pack or anything, which is fantastic. That's the way to do it, Hasbro. And yeah, and I am going to get him again. But you knew that was coming, right?
Oh yeah.
Because I love Grimlock, and why not have two of the same one? Because I'm that sick in the head.
Oh boy.
I always say I must have all the Grimlocks, even though I don't have all the Grimlocks. But and when I first told you I was getting this again when it comes out, you were like pretty much asking me why, and my friend said why, and I was like, well, what happens if something happens to the one I have? And I love this
Oh
mold.
boy.
And I'm actually, this is one of the things that's sick and it's sad because there's so, they revealed so much new stuff here and for the Age of the Primes. And this is one of the things I'm most excited for. Not to say everything is bad, but that's how sick in the head I am when it comes to Dinobots and especially Grimlock. But yeah, there he is. And I'm glad other people didn't get a chance to get him, have another chance to get him. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I need therapy.
Yeah.
Okay,
You
now
know.
we're moving on to the two last pieces of Devastator.
Devastator. I can't wait. I'm so pumped.
Now again, everything's shown so far. We've seen pictures for, and these are the Hasbro official reveals. But
Yeah.
Mixmaster is my favorite Constructicon, and he looks really, really cool. I mean, the thing about the Constructicons in general, this round, I'm talking about this round, is they do in their individual forms come off very plain, but they're studio series and they're trying to emulate, get as close to the Transformers movie as possible. So
Yeah.
that's why, because they were very plain, but they are
Yeah.
very plain. But the thing I like about Mixmaster and the other one we're going to look at soon is that they have more purple in them, so it breaks up the green.
Yeah.
And I
For
like
sure.
that because some of the other ones, and again, that's not the fault of Hasbro. They're
Bone
trying to
Crusher. He's just all
they're
neon.
they're trying to get the cartoon accuracy, and that's what they
Yeah.
work. But it makes for a very bland and plain figure
Yeah.
individually. So I love the extra purples. The purples. Thankfully, Mixmaster had more purple, and there he is, and he's looking pretty good. And it's good to see my personal favorite Constructicon to also look good in his single forms. Non-Devastator.
Yeah.
Little cement truck looks cool. And then we have, and I had to do this again because they just threw Scavenger in next to Mixmaster. And again, purple waist to mix it up. So he
I like
really,
the silver. I like the
yeah.
silver in the middle too. It's
So
different for sure.
these two are the ones that don't, out of all of them, I think, have more pop to them and don't look as bland. And that's fortunately because of their, character models in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's looking really cool. And then I have his alt mode again. That's what he was in the show. So no
Looking
problem
good.
with him. He's looking good.
Yeah. Can't wait to get my hands on him and then form Devastator. It's gonna be epic, dude.
And speaking of Devastator, this isn't even planned, but you segued into, we got our look
Look at
at
that.
fully built Devastator. Now, where some of the individual robots look kind of plain, Devastator has color, just enough color to break him apart so he doesn't look as plain with the purples and some black on the forearms. The one thing I think is weird that I noticed is that, see here, this is Scavenger's treads. They're
Yep.
purple. Over here, that's Bone Crusher, right? Yeah.
I believe so, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, because Scrapper's not here. He doesn't have purple treads, so to me that looks off. Again, not Hasbro's fault, going with show model accuracy. But to me, I wish they could have. I mean, I'm sure someone would complain, but I wish this was purple too, because then it would line up better.
Yeah.
It's kind of distracting to me, but not where I hate the figure. It's just something that immediately
Yeah.
popped in my mind, and I do like
Yeah.
how Mixmaster's little purple windshield stands out, gives it some more different colors with his little mixer barrel thing. Yeah, Devastator's looking really good. Now, a lot of people thought, say he's kind of stumpy looking in the legs.
I don't think so.
Some pictures he does, but here he doesn't look too stumpy, and I like the proportions.
I think
Maybe
it
that's
looks really
because,
good.
well, I think a lot of it was because we were seeing the grayscale again, and without color,
Yeah, that
sometimes
too. It's
look,
tough to see.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to look awesome, and I cannot wait for these two so we can get him.
Yeah. I'm pretty pumped, dude.
Now, I think, oh, no, we have one more. I think we have one more, what they revealed. Oh, an official, finally, Megatron Studio Series Megatron. We talked about these the last time, but these
Yeah.
are the official reveals. The one thing I noticed about this Megatron that I want to point out that is cool, cool, his legs don't look as blue as the
Yeah.
other pictures we saw, the leaked
Yeah.
pictures. They're more of just a gray, which is good because I think in those pictures they were a bit too blue.
They looked really blue.
But this looks a lot better, so I'm hoping this is what the final, what we get in our hands looks like. And then there won't be, I mean, they'll still try to repaint him into something because, you know, you got to make money off the mold. I'm hoping
Yeah.
they do a shadow version because now, after seeing the timelines, it's kind of like a shadow version Megatron.
Yeah.
And the Hearts of Steel timelines and the Wild King Shadow Megatron. I'm all about the Shadow Megatron lately, and this mold would look really cool in those Shadow Megatron colors, and I would be all for that. But yeah, he's
Yeah, me
looking
too. That'd be
good.
sick.
He's looking great, like the other pictures before the non-officials. But the good news to me is that these don't look as blue, so that's pretty cool. And they must be Hasbro must have been watching our Moonbase 84 podcast because now they're starting to, I'm joking, of course, but they're starting to do questions for next time. And their question was an interesting one, and I wanted to bring that up. They're asking if people would like to see, like they use the G1 cartoon as an example, to see non-movie G1 stuff brought to studio series, meaning like from the G1 cartoon.
Yeah.
And they just want fans' input on that. And for me, my answer is yes, because some people out there might say, well, that's not studio series, but it is because studio series doesn't have to be to me a movie studio, and we already see that with the gamer editions. Those are
Yeah.
video game studios, and they bring those out under studio series. Well, guess what? Animation people that give you your cartoons are animation studios.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
not? And we'd get more characters, and I think
Yeah.
quicker.
Yeah, I think so too.
And updates of characters that we want. So I am all for it if that's what they want to do. But also, not even just speaking from a G1 perspective, that opens the door for other cartoon series that people want updated figures from. That opens the door for more Energon,
Mm.
Armada, Cybertron's a big on people. Like as we saw, that did really well
Yeah.
for reissues. So people do, and they keep on teasing the idea they're going to come out with the Cybertron Optimus Prime. That could be a studio series, Commander
Yeah.
maybe. And you can do other figures from Cybertron or any Transformers cartoon. So I am all for it. I mean, yes, please. What do you
Absolutely. The more figures, the better.
exactly? Why would you want them to limit themselves? And again,
Doesn't
their
make
animation for those is like saying, well, that's not a movie. It's studio series. If they can do gamer edition and say studio series because it's a game studio, they can do animation studios,
Yeah.
and I'm all for it. And that's a
Agreed.
way to get these possibly get more characters from other series that aren't G1 that people are saying there's too much G1.
Yeah.
So me, I'm all for it, please. And they did also tease one last thing. They also teased more combiners on the way. They threw around the Fensor. They were saying what they saw from fans, comments. What they said, Defensor is very popular in Predaking.
I
And
would want a Predaking. Oh, a Predaking would be sick, dude.
yeah, and they also teased Monstructor, and they said he would not be dinosaurs. For those that don't know, the Dino King from Transformers Victory were repaints and kind of like retools, the original G1s of Monstructor, and then they were given the Pretender shells and things like that. So, and I think the next HasLab's going to be Dino King anyway. We did get the littler one based off the Volcanicus Dinobots, which everybody knew was the reason they did that in the first place with the core class, which looks really cool. But you know me, I need a full size Dino King. And I would take Monstructor. I'm not saying I'm not, but I'm betting they keep on doing like the victory stuff through HasLab, like Star Saber, Deathsaurus,
Yeah.
Bio Kaiser. So if I was a betting man, I'd put my money down that the next HasLab could has a great chance of being the Dino Force.
Yeah.
But
Be pretty dope.
Well, yeah, but I wish it would just be regular releases instead of the
Yeah.
I'm
True.
kind of sour on the HasLab right now.
Yeah. Rightfully so. Rightfully so.
But yeah, so even though mine's not broken, but it's still the whole experience is not good, especially for my first HasLab. It wasn't all the excitement, the quality issues, all the excitement went out the window. But anyway, so I would much rather get my more dinos through normal channels, but probably won't happen. And I think that is it for the Studio Series fan stream. Yes, so now we're into the topic. The rumor mill has been going crazy the last few days with in regards to Transformers on the big screen and on the small screen. And this first rumor is that, I'm going back to Robert Kirkman and Skybound, is that they sold a cartoon series based on their Energon universe to a streaming service for a new animated streaming series, not just Transformers, but G.I. Joe. And I hope it also includes, they throw some Void Rival stuff in there because I love that comic as well. So this is great because I've been saying for a while that this could be a possibility because Robert Kirkman is known for not just doing great comics. He's also known for bringing those comics to the small screen with The Walking Dead and the Invincible animated series. And I was saying, like, that'd be awesome if they did that because the comic Energon Universe is so well received. And it would be great. And for him to be kind of like a showhead on it. And the rumor is that that's going to happen. And I am super excited. And I hope this rumor is true. Now, these rumors we're covering are rumors right now. All the rumors we're talking about, but they're all from insiders that have a great track record of ending up ultimately being correct.
Yeah. So, still though, fingers crossed, take it with a grain of salt for now. This stuff, I've noticed this franchise loves getting our hopes up and then, crushing our sparks. But like especially with the whole reactivate and currently with the remastered games, but still fingers crossed for one of those two because obviously one got canceled. But yeah, fingers crossed for this. Like I said, take it with a grain of salt for now until there's an official announcement. And even then, still take it with a grain of salt because it'll probably get canceled.
I don't know. Not if Kirkman's involved. Because this is saying he actually already sold it to a streaming service. So if that's true and he sold it, it will happen. I mean, yes, it'd be in development. There's still a chance for cancellation, but I don't think so. Robert Kirkman just has too good of a track record, I think, for this to end up not being anywhere or not true. And there's a possibility we might get more at next month's Comic-Con. And like these guys say, or will it be New York Comic-Con? I mean, when I say next month's Comic-Con, obviously the big one, San Diego. New York Comic-Con or maybe TF-Con. I'm hoping it's next month during Comic-Con. Because it would be perfect sense. I mean, he always has a presence there. They're doing an exclusive Jetfire with the characters from Void Rivals for Comic Sans. comic. It'd be a great time to say, hey, look, and here's a little teaser trailer. Now, the thing is the show all mixed together? Is it Transformers? Oh, it says Transformers and G.I. Joe together in a new animated series, which would go, that would make sense in a lot of ways, but hopefully, I don't hate G.I. Joe, but obviously I love Transformers way more. I'd like to see more Transformers than G.I. Joe, but usually, these shows use human characters, so having the Joe team and Cobra would be cool. But I want them to sprinkle in some Void Rivals in a series, because I think that'd be awesome. They might not be marketing it as Void Rivals because that's not as well known, because it's just that was an original comic in the Energon universe written by Robert Kirkman. And he uses Transformers and Void Rivals. It seems like he uses a lot of the '86 cast for Transformers. Like he's used Hot Rod, Wreck-Gar, Springer. So
got you.
Up because Daniel Warren Johnson unfortunately killed him unless they revive him. Yeah, I'm really excited for this rumor, and if I was a betting man again, I would say this one is definitely going to happen.
Well, that's good to hear, I guess.
Moving on, Michael Bay is supposedly to do a new Transformers movie, and so far from what I've seen, people aren't super pumped for this.
Really?
No, they're not.
I've seen a lot of people on TikTok that are pretty excited.
Oh, really? A lot of the YouTubers are not.
Well, that's where our audience differs.
Yeah.
Because like me, I grew up pretty much with animated in the Bayverse.
Well, that's why I knew.
So, and that's so my audience is more like people my age.
Yeah, I knew this was gonna have mixed reactions when I saw this rumor because of what you just said. The Michael Bay movies are some people's G1.
Yeah.
I do not hate the Michael Bay movies. Some people love them. Some people absolutely can't stand them. I think they went from, like I love the first one. They're good for what they were. And yes, they got like a little worse as they went on. Not to where, because I'm an easier person to please. I'm not as critical of movies and things like that. So like movies that people typically say are terrible, awful, I'll bring up the Green Lantern movie. I don't hate that movie. I don't think it's the worst thing ever. I actually enjoyed that movie for what it was. I'm not going to sit here and claim to say it was an incredible movie, but for what it was, I enjoyed it just fine. Same with the Transformers movies. For what they were, I enjoyed them just fine. Some of them I really liked. The Michael Bay movies. Yeah. So we're just going to have to wait and see what's going to happen. Is it going to be a continuation of The Last Night? Or is it a new take, new fresh start on Transformers movies with Michael Bay happening to be directing it? That being said, I do hope they go that route and just do a fresh take instead of continuing that story, because I think he started running out of steam with ideas.
Well, that too, and I kind of hope they go in a new direction too, because you got to think, in these movies, I highly doubt it's going to be Peter Cullen and Frank Welker voicing Prime and Megatron.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah,
people got to let them retire.
Yeah. Not that we want to see them go, but
not that, of course, I know they're awesome and legendary, but
let them enjoy.
Let them, spend family time with, let them spend time with their families.
They shouldn't be imprisoned by the Transformers franchise.
No.
That being said, I'm just gonna wait and see if this ends up being true. Again, these are rumors from very credible sources, so there's a big, strong chance that it is true. I'm just gonna take a wait and see. I'm not one of those people that see something like this and say my world is over and I should just jump off a bridge because Michael Bay is coming back. But I'll wait to my final thoughts on the next rumor because it has something to do with that. The last rumor is Josh Cooley, who directed Transformers 1, is going to do a separate movie than the Bay movie, but live action. Now, this is, again, credible sources, and it's kind of funky because he was at a con and he said there were no plans for a Transformers 1 sequel, which sucks to me.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I really
sucks for
wanted a
everybody.
Transformers 1 sequel. So it's kind of weird. And not only this, so that's 2 movies, but it also says that his movie and the Bay movie are 2 of 5 projects that Paramount's trying to develop for Transformers. So that's a big dump of movies, and it's more surprising because Hasbro is no longer co-funding the movies. So for Paramount to go all in with 5 projects in development is kind of crazy to me because that means they're funding them by themselves. Now, when projects are in development, it doesn't mean all of them are going to end up happening.
Yeah,
So I bet you the Bay one's going to happen. If I were to bet,
yeah,
I would say the Bay one and most probably the Josh Cooley. Now, whether they're tied together, maybe one's doing, it could be a Star Wars sequel thing. One starts it off and Cooley picks up and continues, which I use the Star Wars, and that we find is not always a good thing.
yeah, yeah,
Especially with Star Wars. But this whole thing gives me a Star Wars vibe with this 5 projects because since Disney took over Lucasfilm, how many Star Wars projects were revealed, and even named and
yeah,
the kind of themes of the movies, and they all get thrown in the dumpster.
yeah,
This rings to me like one of those. Yes, we have these projects. Will you ever see them? Chances are maybe not, probably not. uh,
yeah,
like again, I think the Bay movie will happen, and I think the
yeah,
Josh Cooley one will. But the sad thing about, and like I think these other 3 might not have a chance of seeing the light of day unless it's like a sequel to their 2 movies if they're connected.
yeah, yeah,
Now, the sad thing about this, the victim going back is Transformers 1 sequel.
yeah.
And
Unfortunately,
and we know the reason why is because that movie is considered a box office flop. It didn't make money. And all the Michael Bay movies made money or broke even. Bumblebee wasn't a Michael Bay movie, but that made money. And then Rise of the Beast, which I really liked a lot, and I love the Bumblebee movie, but Rise of the Beast broke even, they think, by all accounts. So I think they're bringing Michael Bay back to spark people from your generation
yeah,
to go out and, so they can make money. Because at the end of the day, unfortunately, they're going to do what they think is going to make them money. And if it makes them money, they're going to continue to do so. So unfortunately, the victim here definitely looks to be the Transformers 1 sequel due to its poor box office. But I hold out hope. I'm not going to lose sleep over it that one of these projects is something to do with Transformers 1, at least that universe. Maybe a TV streaming service movie, maybe just a straight up cartoon series. I would
I
take.
wouldn't mind a cartoon. That would be awesome.
I just want to see the world of Transformers 1 continue in some way. And
Agreed.
I was really hoping for a movie, but it doesn't. A traditional movie, I don't think is going to happen, and that's sad because of
I,
all these rumors for Transformers. The potential Transformers 1 sequel is, the victim.
I just think the Transformers One universe is it's too good to just let die. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And it's not really connected to anything, so it needs something. It can't just be a standalone film with all of that meaning and the origin and everything. Just to have it be alone, it needs something.
The '86 Transformers movie will always be my favorite Transformers movie because that's what I grew up with. I love that movie. I still watch it today. I quote that movie all the time. Transformers 1, to me, how I feel about Transformers 1 is right up there with that movie. It's just below the 86 movie as my favorite Transformers movie. So I was pumped when I saw that movie. I saw it 6 times in the theaters, Transformers 1. And so this, having it, be like just about dead in the water, with hopes and hopes of something happening, lowering and lowering, really stings me. It just sucks. That's the only thing, to not be eloquent about it. It just sucks. But I'm hoping something. Like I said, I will take I just want to see that version of Transformers continue. It doesn't have to be like we were saying. It could be a TV series, and I would watch that, and I'd watch the Energon universe. I don't care. Love Transformers. I'll watch them both. We had rescue bots for younger kids running with Transformers Prime. So why not have the Kirkman stuff, which would probably be more like teenager, young adult, and older, and have more kid-friendly Transformers 1 universe. And so hopefully something, but those are the rumors. Like I said, they are being reported by really credible and mostly often correct sources. So that's what we got. A lot of stuff in the works, and it all got dumped on us this week. So a lot to talk about and a lot to go over this week with these rumors. And that brings us to the question for next time. Would you rather see a Transformers 1 sequel or another Bayverse movie? You can answer in the comments on this video, and I will once again put up a YouTube community post, and we will swing around next time to go over your answers. And I think that's a great way to interact with our community and fan base we are trying to build.
Absolutely.
I think you know my answer to the question.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have anything else to add?
No, I don't think so. Just excited for all these rumors. Hope a good chunk of them are true, and they actually come to fruition. We get content out of this.
Well, having this franchise continue in one way or another, ultimately, whether you like the offerings they give you or not, having it continue and having a portion of the fan base that does enjoy what they're giving us is only a good thing for the franchise when you look at it from the big picture. Like, if they came out with a Bayverse movie and I asked, if I hated that news totally, and like I said, it ruined my day or my life, like some people react online.
Yeah.
In the scheme of things, if people more like you, who that's kind of your G1, are excited for it, and there's enough people enjoy it, what that ultimately does is keep the franchise going. And that's not a bad thing. And if you don't want to go see the Bayverse, support the Robert Kirkman cartoon if you're into that. You can still find ways to enjoy your Transformers without having it ruining your life. But I think that's about it. Again, drop any comments that you want on this video and answer this question if you feel inclined. And again, or when I post it up for the community post. And until next time, this is Mondo, the Dead Bottomless Prime. And
Atron, the Minicon.
Saying your name. My buddy says we have the same arms and we laugh the same.
Yeah.
And the reason he says we have the same arms is because of reviews.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which was funny. He's like, you two have the same arms. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, oh.
That's funny.
We're known to giggle like maniacs. It's just our nature. Okay. I guess we should end it because now we're just rambling.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Take care, y'all. Hope you guys have a good one.
And thanks for docking. Please like and subscribe.